But what really is sustainability? I mean, and we were just talking about that before also. Like you can't really build a fully sustainable product to say that it has zero impact on the environment.
Yeah.
But how does it go along with you you building as a business? Because eventually you want to every company is a business at the end of the day, right? So how do these two things go hand in hand? Or what really sustainability? You can
I
just
think as a designer, sustainability is always like a big question mark. At least for me, it always
hmm,
has been. And I think the definition of sustainability is perpetually, it's always confused me. And I think that, at least from my understanding, as we discussed earlier as well, and something that a designer named Michael DiTullo also said was that the only sustainable product out there is no new product. Like anything that you have to manufacture and
hmm,
make or whatever from scratch is going to have some impact, right? So the real idea of sustainability itself, like what is that? Um, I'm still learning. I think I'm still trying to understand what is really a sustainable product. I think today I try to live by the definition of if it makes less of an impact than something, then it's alternative. It is a direction in the right route, I would say. That I would say is a direction towards sustainability, something on those lines. As a company, I think there's a lot of research and just R&D in general happening in how EVs can be more sustainable. I think right now there's a lot of question about the raw materials and where it's sourced from. So while it may not contribute to pollution on the streets, right? What about the electricity? Where's that being sourced? What happens to EVs after their life, right? So at the end of the day, there's still a battery, there's still a lot of plastic panels or whatever metal, all of that. What happens to that at the end of life? I think that's something that companies try to slowly look into after building the product itself. It's okay, what happens to it at the end of its life, right? Say someone's
hmm,
used the EV for 7 to 8 years. Does the company take it back? Do we partner with people who recycle certain parts of it? Can the batteries, some part of the battery be recycled and brought back into the ecosystem? I think in many ways that idea of circularity is what businesses slowly are trying to focus on, just from a sustainability standpoint, right? And what materials we choose for packaging, what like wherever we can kind of reduce
hmm,
plastic or reduce conventionally unsustainable materials. I think as a company, any company is slowly trying to take those steps. Okay, does it make sense for us to shift to this? Does it make cost sense for us to move from this material to that material? Because everyone knows plastic is likely the cheapest option that's out there right now. So beyond that, do we have the bandwidth or the capabilities to move to a more sustainable, possibly more expensive packaging material or just material in the vehicle itself, right? Because everything at the end of the day has a cost impact as well. And I think that is potentially the one of the biggest wedges in the sustainability spectrum, I would
hmm,
say. And then there's scalability, right? There's a lot of, I think, innovation happening on the material front, where there's a lot of material that comes from the earth. There's biomaterials. There's a lot of things that come from waste. You can use waste to regenerate materials again. But then it comes to, okay, how scalable is that, right? If we're working with large volumes, can that really meet our requirements on that front? So I think there's a lot of progress happening, and there's still always going to be a long way to go. But I definitely see a pretty strong shift towards companies at least caring a little bit more about it. And of course, there's the whole greenwashing and people pretending like they're doing something when they're really not. And there's a lot of different ways people are executing this whole sustainability idea. But I think it's still a step in the right direction if people are talking about it and thinking about it. So that, in my head, is a good sign.